Hey, this is Ray Dabrowski. Today I want to tell you about an all-new kind of t-shirt mock-up template called Shops Shirts Mockup Templates. If you look at the websites or Instagram pages of some of the coolest clothing shops, boutiques, custom motorcycle brands, and surf shops, many of them photograph their t-shirts laid flat on an interesting background, on top of a vintage rug, on a polished concrete floor, on a Mexican blanket, or on top of an ornamental textile print. So with these templates, I wanted to capture that essence and have the ability to show them on a number of different backgrounds. The first thing about mock-up templates is that you want to have multiple views with different shapes in the fabric wrinkles, so they don't all look the same on your website or Instagram page. The collection I'm going to show you here are the women's short sleeve t-shirt mock-up templates. These are premium style tees with 5 front views and 5 back view templates. So in Photoshop, I've got one of the women's t-shirt templates open right now. The first thing we want to do is let's open our layers panel. Let's go Window, Layers. And the layers are the key to customizing this template to get it to look the way you want. So first, let's just go in and add our art. So we need some art. Let me go into Adobe Illustrator. I have a logo here that I made for the shop shirts. Let me just select that, copy it, and then go back into the template here in Photoshop. And you'll see a layer called Your Art. And it says double click on the left thumbnail to add in your art. So just double click on that. So you'll notice a layer at the top here called Magic Fabric Texture. I'll tell you about that in a second. Let me go ahead and just turn that off. And there's another layer below that called Highlight this layer and paste in your art. Below that is a placement guide. We need to turn on the visibility of that placement guide. And let's go ahead and highlight that middle layer and go Command V to paste in our art. Now, based on this placement guide, I'll go ahead and move the graphic up, scale it, and position it the way I want it. I want this graphic to be white. Now, I'm going to show you a couple things here. So let me go ahead and invert that graphic. So it's black now. So let's just go Image, Adjustments, Invert. And I'll turn off the visibility of this placement guide. And let's just click Save to save that smart object, and we'll go ahead and go back to the main file. The smart object file has a displacement map that automatically bends the graphic wherever there's a wrinkle in the fabric. So the next thing that'll add even more realism to this mock-up is let's go back into that smart object by double clicking on it. And what I want to do is I want to turn on the visibility of this magic fabric texture layer. And when you turn on the visibility of that, it knocks a little bit of transparency with fabric texture through your design. So when you save that and go back to your shirt, I don't know if you can see this in the video, but it adds a really nice amount of subtle texture to your graphic. So it just looks that much more real. The next thing is you can add in your own custom neck label. And that's really easy to do. I have one as a placeholder in these templates, but all you need to do is just click on this little drop-down arrow in this neck label group, and there's a layer that says hide this layer, so I'll just hide that. And I'm gonna paste the exact same design, just for demonstration purposes, into that neck label layer. So I'll just go Command V, and we'll paste it in as pixels. It's way too big, so I'll just scale it down. And the nice thing is, it automatically crops it out right in the collar there. So we could even invert that, Image, Adjustments, Invert to go with white ink. So let's say instead of a red shirt, you wanted a white shirt. So I'll show you how to edit that. What you want to do is go down here to the fabric color layer, and there's an effect called Color Overlay. Just double click on that, and you see how that red color is right there? We'll just change that to pure white, and click OK and OK again to apply it. Now our logos are disappeared because they're white ink. So let's go back in, double click on that, Image, Adjustments, Invert. I'll hit Save, and then now we can see our graphic. So you may notice the contrast is pretty high for this white shirt. So what I want to do is let's double click on the shading levels, and that opens our properties. So the shading levels is an adjustment layer. Because this is supposed to be a white t-shirt, we need a little less contrast in it. So let's just move our sliders back to the left a little bit. instead of a white shirt, let's say I want a black shirt. So there's a little trick to making a black shirt. So the thing you want to do is double click color overlay again. Now, instead of going all the way to black, see what that does is it knocks out all of our shading. So what we want to do is pick like a dark gray. And I think that is starting to look pretty good. So I'll click OK and OK again to apply that. Now let's go back into our shading levels. And because this is a black shirt, you need to really ramp up the shading. So I'll double click on that shading levels again. And let's just move this left slider to the right. So I think that's looking pretty nice. Now we got to get our graphic to show up. So let's go back into that smart object, change it back to white, image adjustments, invert, and save it. Go back to our main file. I think that's looking really good. You can see the fabric texture in there. You can see the shape of the wrinkles. You can see how the graphic bends over those fabric wrinkles. Let's say we wanted a black heather shirt with a nice subtle heather effect to the fabric. What we can do is go down here to this layer called heather and turn on the visibility. And because this is a black shirt, we need to turn up the opacity of that layer. Right now it's at 40%. We can crank this all the way to 100. And if you zoom in, you can see the nice black heather texture. But I'm just going to turn that heather effect off. And the last thing I want to do is show you how to add in a custom background. I've got some really nice backgrounds in here. I've got some Mexican rugs, Mexican blankets. I've got a camping blanket. I've got a really nice paisley from Ecuador. I've got some indigo dyed fabric. I've got some nice concrete, polished concrete backgrounds. Hardwood floor, antique hardwood floor backgrounds. I've got a wooden crate background. For this example, I think the Ecuador paisley is going to look really nice. So let's just open that up in Photoshop and go Command A, Command C, and let's just close that. And then just highlight your bottom layer here, your background color, and go Command V to paste in that background. I think that looks really good. So let's say we wanted to upload this to Instagram or our website. So we can save it out as a JPEG or a PNG file. I like to do that with the file export save for web function. And these are huge 4,000 by 4,000 pixel templates. So, you know, for Instagram or your website, probably the maximum would be 2,000 by 2,000 pixels. But the resolution's there if you need it. And we'll just go ahead and click save. If you want to find out more about the Shop Shirt Mockup Templates, just follow the link on this page. Thanks for watching.